The following program is intended for mature audiences.
Trubisky steps up, throws. This is way back, and it is gone! Into the end zone. It's an easy touchdown for Syracuse.
You're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports.
Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes.
And check out every episode of the show at basicallysports.tumblr.com.
Now here's your hosts, Zach,
Greg, Mike.
And you're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Can I just start by saying that I just absolutely love Chance, the mascot of the Vegas Golden Knights of Nevada.
Chance the heel monster?
I think he's great. I don't even know what to say.
Fuck that thing so much.
Oh, come on, man.
But you don't like the Golden Knights mascot being Bosk from Star Wars?
Or Gorn from Star Trek, or the Thing from Fantastic Four.
Or a Thing plus Barney. Yeah.
What is he supposed to be?
A Gila monster, right?
Yeah, Gila monster, a poisonous lizard.
I just love this team so much. I just do. Every time I turn around, they're doing something else that just absolutely cracks me up.
Well, so some things from like the first couple games that I've heard so far. One, they have this obnoxious-looking castle.
Yeah, I've got a picture of it.
Oh, let's see that.
They have it up at the top of the arena where they have like a drum line that plays during the game and a DJ.
See what I mean? I thought the Gorn here was as far as we could go. No. Now we get the castle. Come on.
Did you see the game ceremony had on Friday?
The what?
Pre-game ceremony from Friday?
No.
So the Vegas shooting, it kind of messed with their opening night plans. And so they did the tribute to the Vegas victims on their home opener. But their actual home opening ceremony got pushed back to Friday. And this was a vision that Bill Foley had in his dreams leading up to having the team.
No, you're saying it wrong. He's the creator.
Oh, yeah. There's a Vegas hockey blog that refers to him as the creator, which is
weird.
So the thing is that the lights go dark, and an evil knight comes out waving the opposing team's flag, saying, I'm for the opposing team. And at center ice, there's a giant rock with a sword in it. And so the guy goes to pull it out, and, well, he can't pull it out because he's the evil knight. But then the golden knight appears, and he pulls the sword from stone and defeats the opposing team.
Just as the medieval authors foresaw.
Yeah.
Come on. How great is this? Come on.
It's medieval times on ice.
I found more pictures of the castle.
I like the one I've got here. You've got the Gorn, you've got the castle, and you've got three guys in Knights jerseys with look like glowing sunglasses of some sort.
Yeah,
on.
The sunglasses seem to be a thing.
Yeah.
Take a look at that.
A drum line that they have. Whenever they score goals, they play their goal song, which is some, I think it's an Imagine Dragons song. When they're doing the goal announcements, they say, goal scored by number 18, James Neal. A little, jackpot sound plays.
How great would it be if they did the goal announcements in Old English?
God.
Come on. Now, would that not be, wouldn't that just put the cherry on top of this entire Sunday if you did that?
You'd have to have, a herald do it. Like a medieval, town herald.
Yeah, he would come out of the castle with a scroll. Ye old Vegas Knights goal scored by...
This team is just, oh my God.
I love them so much.
And they might have to change their name anyway.
Right. Every time you think they've done everything they can do, they're the gift that keeps on giving.
That's kind of some people's suspicion as to why the mascot is a Gila monster and not the actual knight itself. Because if they can't be the Golden Knights, it looks like the supposed backup is Sand Knights.
Mike's idea was better. Neon Knights was much better than that.
Neon Knights or Desert Knights.
Right.
Anything is really better than Sand Knights.
Or just Knights.
Yeah, that too. Because you know what I think of when I hear Sand Knights? I think of Sand Gnats, which I don't think is the association they want me making.
No.
But then again, maybe they do, because at this point, I would not be surprised by anything.
Something that they tried to do in at least the home opener, I don't know if they transferred it over to the second game or not, but they had a PA, separate from the actual goal announcement guy, they had an in-arena host. At some point in like the third period, I think, he was like, "Hey, everybody, we're going to try to start a new tradition here. Everybody knows Sweet Caroline by Neil Diamond, right? Well, when they get to the chorus, instead of saying Sweet Caroline, everybody is going to sing Sweet Golden Nights. Are you ready?"
Oh, God.
That's a stretch.
Like the PA guy was just like, "Sweet Golden Nights," and everyone just like,
everybody else is going, "What the fuck is going on?"
Nobody else is
This is so dumb.
I want to see the Golden Knights mascot fight the Edmonton Oilers mascot. When they fight each other, though, they have to play the Star Trek fight music.
So I think we're onto something, though, with doing the goal announcements in Old English with the hear ye, and all that. That would be awesome. If you're going to put a castle up, you might as well go all the way.
That castle's the greatest thing. It looks like it was pulled right out of a Renaissance fair.
I think it looks like it was pulled straight off of a cable access TV set. That's what I think it looks like.
Do you think Bill Foley just found this in, like, a dumpster from the back of Staples Center?
Like when Kramer found the Merv Griffin set on Seinfeld?
Exactly.
over under on how long it takes for the first drunk Kings fan to run up to that castle and just be like, "Woo, king of the castle!"
What time does the first game start? A Mexican hockey league?
Yeah.
Okay.
The
Why not?
Liga Mexicana Elite de Hockey.
All right. And where are they getting players? Mexico being the hockey hotbed that it is and all, I guess it wouldn't be too much of a problem.
You have the Teotihuacan priests, the Mayan astronomers, the Aztec Eagle Warriors.
Wait,
the
back up a
Olmec-
second. The Mayan astronomers? That's my new favorite team. What a great name. I'm serious.
And their logo is one of those
A telescope?
Mayan. No, it's one of those Mayan dragon-looking things.
Oh, you can't be the astronomers and not have a telescope.
That Mayan astronomer's jersey is pretty fantastic.
Pretty god-awful.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. Look at that with the checkerboard down the middle.
You have the checkerboard down the middle that leads up to the Mayan pyramid.
So it looks like
The Olmec Stoneheads is making me think of Legends of the Hidden Temple.
The perfect fit here would be salsa.
Oh, of
Oh,
course.
my God, yes, right?
That's what I'm thinking, like salsa versus Mayan astronomers. Like, come on.
This is like a Monty Python sketch. Too much has happened in the last week. I can't handle all this. This is too funny.
Indeed, it almost kind of makes the baseball playoffs seem kind of like a step down.
Oh, what a letdown that was. I'm serious.
What happened, Greg?
Dude, I tell you, you want the truth?
Yeah.
My theory, when you win a game like they did in Game 2, and you've been doing that all season, there becomes a mindset on the team where everybody says, we just have to wait for something to happen. But here's the problem with that. When everybody's waiting for something to happen, no one makes anything happen. That, I think, is what happened to the Indians those last 3 games. They kept thinking somebody will do something that will get us going, and it never came because everyone was waiting for everyone else to do it. And it's just baseball. It's the way it goes. But, oh, what a disappointment. I thought this was the year. I really did. Not in a win or bust type attitude, but like this is the year. If they're ever going to do it, this is the team that can do it. I am disappointed. I have to be honest. And not like a, oh my God, we lost, it's heartbreaking type of thing, but just how can this team be that good and go out that quietly and that easily? That bothers me.
You could.
It's how it happens.
Yeah, it's just baseball.
I remind you about the 2001 Seattle Mariners.
Honestly, I expected that because that team was such a. You just looked at them and they didn't strike. Not that the Indians strike fear in anybody, but I just look at the Mariners and I always thought like they're not as good as the Yankees. I don't know if they feasted on a weak division all season or what, but I was never. At any point did I think this is one of the best teams I've ever seen. Not that I thought that with the Indians either, but I looked at the Indians and I thought these guys are every bit as good as the Dodgers or the Astros. I never thought that about the Mariners at any point. And no matter how good what would they win, 114 games? I never at any point bought in with that group. Never. Never thought it. I always thought it didn't surprise me in the least when they went out in the first round.
I thought the truly sad and poetic thing about the Indians is who was the Yankee starter in that game 5?
CC Sabathia. Yep.
CC freaking Sabathia, who I thought was done, was out of the league. Turns out he's not.
Well, no.
Turns out he's not, and he's still winning playoff games.
If you want to talk like baseball stuff too, having Corey Kluber pitch so poorly in 2 games really hurt the Indians as well, because that was the plan going in was, you get your starts out of Kluber and worry about the rest later. Well, when you're not getting your wins out of Kluber, that changes the whole dynamic, and that's exactly what happened. And in a 5-game series, you didn't have time for that. I mean, they got lucky when Trevor Bauer pitched so well in the first game, and you got Kluber in game 2. He didn't pitch well, but I think they still won. Yeah, that was the big comeback game. And, by game 5, I mean, I knew, like, after he gave up the home run to Gregorius in the first inning, I thought he does not have it tonight. But, he's Corey Kluber. You got to go with him for a while. It was just I don't know. It's one of those weird baseball things. It just happens sometimes. And, but I'm as disappointed as I've been. Not, like I said, not like in a heartbreaking, typical Cleveland type of way, but just more of a, man, they were better than this. I don't know what happened here type of way. Well, frustrated more than disappointed, I guess.
Someone brought this up to me, where they were just like, oh, Cleveland's back to being Cleveland. And in my head, I was like, you know what? I think they burned out their karma just to get the 1 championship with LeBron.
Yeah, could be.
And now this is just everything regressing back to the mean. I mean, you got the LeBron, you got to the World Series, and everyone's like, whoa, that's way too much for Cleveland to handle all at once. Let's knock things back a couple notches.
Here, losing the first round to the Yankees. There you go.
I mean, if you want to get into like a historical context, I'll tell you what it reminds me a lot of is the 96 Indians, who were probably a little bit better than the 95 Indians, the one that went to the World Series, won 100 games and strike short in season and all that. Mm-hmm. The 96 Indians went out and lost to a Baltimore team that they were just simply better than. That was just the way it went. And it's just one of those baseball things. I mean, I'm sure it's happened before with other teams. The Dodgers knocked out the Cubs a few years ago. Where the Cubs, you just went, what the hell just happened? The Dodgers just like smoked them in 4 games. And you went, wow, what was that all about?
Yeah,
it's kind of one of those things. Yeah, it's just,
101 games, lost the Red Sox in the first round like they always did.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just weird. It's
and of course, with the Yankees going in and knocking off Cleveland after one of Cleveland's best seasons. Now Houston all of a sudden is up 2-0 on the Yankees out of nowhere.
Now I want Houston to win.
So do I.
At least this series, because won't they then become the only team to ever win both the AL and NL pennant if they can?
I would have to think so.
I would say yes. I can't say with certainty because things were so nutty back in the early 1900s, but I would say yeah.
Baseball back then's hilarious.
Yeah. But modern era, like say from Babe Ruth forward, yeah, absolutely it's the first team to ever do that. Right?
Yeah, because, the Brewers certainly didn't do it.
No. Well, they won it. They won the pennant in '82 in the American League, but they haven't got within sniffing distance of it since they moved to the National League.
But my ultimate end game, what I want to see happen is I want to see the Cubs beat the Astros. So the Astros will be the first team to win both pennants, and in their 2 World Series appearances, they lost to the 2 Chicago teams.
That would be pretty funny, wouldn't it?
It would be.
Yeah.
Well, it would have been even funnier had the Cubs not won already.
Right,
too.
like if they had not won last year and then this happened, that would be something.
Because then they would have lost. They would have broken both streaks for both Chicago teams.
But I'm all in on the Dodgers in that series. I mean, it was the Cubs got their win, and that's fine. But I've always liked the Dodgers better, and I want I'd like to see a Dodgers Astros World Series because that's about as good as it can get without the Indians in it. So two really good teams.
I'm honestly at the point where there's no team that I don't want to see. Even the Yankees, I wouldn't even necessarily mind it because
me either. Weirdly
enough. This Yankees team isn't like the Yankees team of the late 2000s where they just bought everyone.
No,
like that 2000. What was it? 2008 or 9 Yankees?
Nine
Yankees team where they just bought a championship basically. That pissed me off. But here, they developed this team the right way. They were a wild card team. And they beat the best team in the AL, coming from behind. It's weird to say the Yankees are a fun underdog story, but that's kind of what they are this year.
Don't you think, too, that they've got a sense of, I guess for lack of a better term, fun about them that Yankee teams normally don't have?
They do. Well,
they're fun. They're not like the serious, Yankee mystique thing. They're just a fun bunch of young kids playing baseball. And you can't help but like that a little bit.
We talked about this at the beginning of the season about how even the Yankees, they were sort of embracing, Judge's rise to prominence. Like the Judge's box or whatever?
Judge's Chambers.
Judge's Chambers. They had the foam gavels.
Yeah.
And that's fun.
Yeah.
And that's fun stuff you usually don't see out of the Yankees.
But yeah, they're not the staunch, like stuffy, boring, methodical, precision-filled Yankees. They're like a fun team. And I can't, obviously I think the Cubs are the team I at least want to see win it. Then the Yankees, and then, Dodgers, Astros, I'm good either way. Like I always tell people.
Where's the Cubs hate coming from?
It's not hate. It's just they did it last year. I want to see somebody new.
Gotcha.
If they hadn't won last year, then it would really be weird because I'd still root for the Dodgers because I've always kind of liked the Dodgers. But it's like I tell everybody, I'm happy as long as I still have hats and shirts I can wear for the playoffs. And I've got Astros and Dodgers gear, so I'm good.
I'm okay with the Yankees if they win the AL, but I want them to lose just because I think having the storyline of Yankees-Dodgers or Yankees-Cubs, like with the historical significances of that, pretty cool. But either way, I want the Yankees to lose just because I don't care how scrappy and young and fun underdogs they are.
Right.
Yankees. I know I don't wish them, good fortune in anything.
Well, I can't. Yeah, I don't know that. I think I'm making it sound like I like them more than I actually do, but I guess they don't bother me like they normally do. I guess would be a better way of putting it. They don't just piss me off by watching them.
Yeah, but Yankee fans do.
Yeah, that's true.
See, maybe we could talk about this because I don't have an answer because they both annoy the piss out of me. Who's worse, Red Sox or Yankees fans?
Red Sox, I think. I do. I've dealt with both of them going to games at Progressive Field, and I really think the Red Sox fans are worse. And
I think Red Sox fans of recent are worse.
Yeah.
But like thinking over my entire, all my years of going to baseball games, I'd still give the Yankees the edge overall, but the Red Sox have been particularly bad ever since they won.
I guess the thing to me, the thing with the Red Sox fans that always bothered me until 2004 was they felt like they were owed a World Series. Like we've been through so much heartbreak and blah, blah, blah. We deserve this. No, you don't. Nobody, I suppose you could think you do, but if you're going to use that logic, well, so do we then. We deserve it too. So, everybody, Angels fans deserve it. Well, not anymore, not for 2002, but that's bullshit to me. And I never got that. Well, Yankees fans, when you're walking in the door with 26 titles, you don't need to feel like you deserve anything, I guess. I don't know. I just always thought Red Sox fans were worse.
To me, what's tragic about Red Sox fans is that they kind of became what they hated. Like once they won, they just became worse versions of Yankees fans.
Well, yeah. Spurred on by a lot of things. Spurred on by them winning, spurred on by the Patriots being good, spurred by the Celtics. Everything just sort of built up all at once.
The Celtics won, then the Bruins won that Stanley Cup in there. Yeah.
If it was just like if every other team sucked and the Red Sox broke through and won their one, be like, oh, okay, well look at them, and they might be like, yeah, we won, this is great. And then after a little while, they'd go back to just being kind of normal fans. But the fact that they ended up being a dynasty, that they ended up being like the Yankees, that the Patriots, surged to be this dynasty, and that all the other teams won at once, it just made for this awful cesspool of masshole. That
there was that ESPN, the magazine cover, all the Boston rings.
Well, which is funny because I remember at the time when that was published, they were like, "Oh, Boston's won so many titles in so many years," and then I looked it up in the time span that they'd marked out for this Boston era of dominance. The city of Los Angeles had the same amount of titles as Boston did, or at least not necessarily the city, but the area between the Angels and the Ducks and the Lakers. It was like, hi guys. We're just good. We're just not about it.
I think that's a big part of it, that the Red Sox happened to have their success come at the same time all the other ones did, and that really made it worse. Say, like you said, Zach, if they were all terrible except the Red Sox, it probably would have been a lot better for everybody, including Red Sox fans, because they wouldn't have had the whole. You go from being, these downtrodden fans with nothing except a Bruins title back in, was it 70 or 71, I guess. And all of a sudden, you've got this embarrassment of riches. I imagine it probably did affect him a little bit, and maybe that was part of the problem. But as I said, in my experience at baseball games, Red Sox fans were always a little worse, a little ruder, a little more, didn't know quite as much as they thought they did. Not that Yankee fans are great by any definition, but I always got the Red Sox fans a little worse. So, but yeah, disappointing playoffs for me. It was just like after it was over, I went, wow, what just happened? We're up 2-0, and now it's done. That's it. End of story. Yeah.
And in the NL, Dodgers, the Dodgers didn't seem to have any trouble with the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, we got that one right, didn't we?
Yeah. But then, of course, in the most glorious fashions, the Nationals
do it.
National so hard.
Didn't you know that that's exactly what they were going to do? They were going to win that crucial Game 4, get it back to D.C., and then I don't know if you guys watched Game 5. I watched bits and pieces of it, and every time it seemed like I turned that game on, the Nationals were throwing the ball all over the place, making errors, just doing stupid shit. And
How is it that Washington has to put up with both the Nationals and the Capitals?
Just lucky, I suppose. But yeah, the Nats just did the total Nationals thing. I mean, they are every bit as they're like clockwork. They're like the Capitals. It's just like you can go, I don't care, do what you want. You're not going to win an important game, so why even worry about it?
It's the city of DC. It's not just the Capitals thing anymore. You know, it's the Nationals are right there. The Wizards are there. And the Redskins are there to an extent too.
Yeah. If you're a Nationals fan, it's got to be like being a Capitals fan at this point. I mean, what do you do? They're too good to break up. You just keep trying?
Again, it's sort of like, and we've talked about this for the Sharks, and it applies to the Capitals and the Nationals. How do you get excited for the regular season anymore? Because it's like, yeah, next season they'll probably win the NL East.
That's how I felt this year. It was like we just went through that whole regular season for this. And it just felt like it was like that because, they came off a World Series loss last year. Basically, this year, they're better, they're healthy, they're ready to go into the playoffs in peak form. And you just went, wow, 162 games for this. Did Clemson?
That's a Clemsoning. We missed you, Clemsoning. So glad to have you back in our lives. That was one of where we have four big losses over the weekend in college football.
Yeah.
You get Clemson here. We'll start with Clemson. They were 2. They dropped down 5 spots to 7 after a 27-24 loss at Syracuse of all things.
Right.
Their QB is suffering a concussion and a sprained ankle in that game. So they're doubtful going forward. I think we talked about it last week that I think, college football was so top heavy, and we said Alabama and maybe Clemson are the only 2 contending teams. It's clear now that, you can't lose to Syracuse and be considered like a national championship contender, I don't think.
No.
And it shows because Alabama has all 61 first place votes in the AP poll this week.
Yeah.
And
I think that Clemson
that one voter at the Clemson shopper finally broke down.
The Clemson penny saver.
Literally, it's Alabama and 117 other teams.
Yeah, it really is. We had Clemson lost, Washington State.
Washington lost to Arizona State. Right. Washington State is a cow, big too.
37-3.
And then dropped to LSU.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just that's what I said it last week. I'm going to say it again. It's Alabama and everybody else, man. I mean, have you seen a team that you think could beat Alabama right now? No, I haven't.
No, you look at the top teams right now. Penn State's number 2. I don't think so.
Break.
Penn State. What Penn State is will be proven over the next string of games here because now they play Michigan and Ohio State and all that.
They're going to lose to Michigan this week. I can tell you that already.
Then you got Georgia, who's putting up a lot of points.
Yeah, Georgia might be interesting. That might be interesting.
It might be interesting, but I still think Alabama would just methodically crush them.
Probably.
TCU.
No. Paper Tiger.
No.
Or fraud.
Wisconsin.
Same thing.
No. Ohio State. You've already been down, guys.
I don't see it.
Clemson and Oklahoma. None of these teams are good enough to beat Alabama as currently constructed.
Oklahoma had a tough time. Who'd they play? They had a hell of a time beating. Texas, right?
They were playing Texas.
Yeah. It's It's going to be. I don't know. I mean, I just don't see anybody knocking off Alabama. I thought maybe Auburn, but what's Auburn got to play for now? Because they're going to be out. They're out of the playoff hunt at this point.
Yeah, and they lost that. They were leading pretty late into that game too. So
yeah, didn't LSU pull off a big comeback to win that?
They did.
Yeah.
I knew that was going to happen. You can, being a Chargers and a Leafs fan kind of conditions you for a sixth sense to know when you're about to blow something.
And you know what I think is interesting too? You can see what people really thought of Washington with how far they dropped after one loss.
Oh yeah. Well, ASU's not that great this year.
No.
And ASU had given up 30 points or more in 13 consecutive games, and Washington was being shut out by them until very late in the fourth.
Yeah, I mean they couldn't do anything with the Arizona State's defense. I mean, it was horrible. They were so bad. You know what? Looking at it though, where are we at? Week 7, going into week 8. Clemson can still climb back into this if a couple things go their way.
Oh yeah, no, there's teams that'll climb into the playoff and all that, but it doesn't matter.
I mean, there will be teams that climb. There has to be 2 through 4 ranked ranking system. There will be warm
like I said, look at some of these. Alabama will beat Georgia in the SEC title game. Penn State, Ohio State, and Wisconsin, one of them will make it in through the Big Ten. TCU, Oklahoma State, same thing. And then, maybe the Pac-12 jumps in there. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, Penn State, the next 3 games, Michigan, Ohio State, Michigan State. You come out of that undefeated, and you know what? You deserve to be number 2. That's what I think. And they won't. But if they can do that, then okay, I'm gonna buy in a little bit. But not at this point. I'm not sold on that team at all.
But again, I think this is all fruitless because I was thinking really hard about this the other day. Why is college football how it is right now? Why is it just Alabama ahead of everybody else, so far ahead of everybody else, and then everybody else is you can mix and match? And based on the things I've been able to see covering high school football and the recruiting and where these kids go and why they go places, for example, a lot of these kids now, most of these kids go to the schools they go to because the schools promise them playing time. Because a lot of these kids think that, well, 1, they want the scholarship to go to college, or 2, they want the most exposure so they can get into the NFL. Right? So you get all these kids that they spread themselves out. Not everybody's going to go to USC anymore necessarily, because why would I go to SC and be a backup for 3 years when I could go over here and start?
To say Cal, even Cal, and start at Cal, or
right?
Yeah, San Diego State for that matter.
The only place where that's not the case is Alabama, because you see in all these blowouts, they play all their kids. Every single one of their backups are 5-star recruits.
Yeah.
So you go to Alabama, 1, you're going to win. 2, the NFL is going to be looking at you because Alabama produces a hell of a lot of prospects.
Yep.
And 3, you're still going to get your playing time.
Yeah.
Because you're blowing out teams every week.
Yeah, with an Alabama, if you're, say, a sophomore on the Alabama team, you're not going to start, but you're still going to see probably, 15, 20 minutes a game for the most part.
And that's not even blowouts. They rotate kids through. They have their starting unit, but, the backups get mixed into the game because they're all still 5-star prospects, like I said.
Yeah.
They're all that. So Alabama stacks these kids up, whereas everybody else kind of spreads out and wants their playing time or wants to play in a certain system or whatever the case is. And that's to Alabama's benefit, and it might be to college football's detriment in a little bit of a way.
Yeah, I think so. It gets kind of boring because it's just Alabama every year. It's nice when a team like an Ohio State comes along and knocks them off once in a while, but for the most part, I don't see that happening this year with Bama.
The big thing is, there's really no way to fix it, and it's not a college football only problem. It's any other sport, any other sport where you have one team that's dominating above all the others. There's no real way to fix it. You can't just go in and say, all you bad teams stop being bad.
No.
Yeah, you're not going to tell prospects to be like, hey, stop spreading out. Everybody go to USC. Everybody go to Ohio State. Let's arm up and beat Alabama.
Yeah.
It's hard. But on the other hand, though, I think college football is as exciting as it's been. The games are all super competitive.
Because other than the Alabama thing, I mean, you saw it over this weekend that it's not necessarily a given that Washington State's going to beat Cal because they're ranked higher. It's not a given that Clemson's going to. I should have been a given. Clemson's going to knock off Syracuse. I mean, come on.
Yeah, that should have been. Yeah.
But yeah, it's a much more level playing field now, which is nice. And I think you're right though with Alabama. I think that's exactly what it is. I mean, they've got, I don't know what if the roster size is, but they're playing. I like to see what their playing time stats. I bet you they're rolling in 50, 60 players a game at least, right?
Sure.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I doubt it.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't see Penn State coming out of this undefeated. If they do, then they're going to deserve to be there. I will give them that. But like TCU, I don't know how they're a Big 12 team. I mean, how can you be doing this? Wisconsin, I don't think they play Ohio State this year. No. Wisconsin's got a pretty easy path ahead of them right now. I mean, they got Maryland, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa. One tough game really in Michigan, and that's it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Michigan had to go to overtime against Indiana. So.
Michigan is not a good team.
I agree with you, Mike. I mean,
not really.
I can't beat that drum too loudly, though, because then I just sound like a sad homer. But I'm with you. I don't think they're okay.
No, you're allowed to beat it because not only is Michigan not good, they can't even beat your team.
No, this is true.
You own their asses, so you're allowed to gloat.
Yeah, every year I look at it and I say, okay, like this year with the one loss the Buckeyes have, like a week ago before all the upsets happened, I would have said, you know what, if we got to lose to Michigan, let it be this year because we're not going anywhere anyway. Well, except now the Buckeyes are at number 6 with Penn State in the way. They could easily jump back into the top 4, so now all of a sudden Michigan becomes important again. But it's going to be an interesting finish, and I just don't see anybody knocking off Alabama.
No.
I mean,
no. Again, all these top teams have flaws. Penn State just won't be able to keep up with Alabama ultimately. I think Alabama's just as physical as Penn State is. Georgia, same thing. TCU, any of those Big 12 teams don't have the offense or the defense. No. Stick with them. Ohio State's just down. Clemson isn't. Maybe Clemson. I don't know. Clemson was up there, but they lose just this one game, and it's close, and the quarterback was injured, and maybe it's really not a big deal. Maybe Clemson is the team still.
Yeah, but Syracuse is so bad that Clemson should have been able to win that game with their number 2 quarterback. Syracuse is not a good team.
I'm curious what the committee thinks of the field. I mean, we can all agree that Alabama's up there, but everybody has their disagreements or their flaws that they can point out on any of these teams, whether it's in their schedule or how they play or what. So I'm curious as to what the committee thinks of the rest of the group right now.
Do you see the committee looking at TCU and saying, yeah, that's the 4th best team in the country? I don't.
No, no way.
It's just a lot of chaos.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really matter because Alabama's going to win this thing.
National Football League.
Dun da da da. Dun da da da. Dun 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 dun.
What do we know? What do we don't know? This is what I know for sure. The Browns are the worst team in the league. That's the only thing I'm positive of.
I think the Browns are the worst team in the league. The Packers are screwed.
Yeah. Unless Brett Hundley can be the next Dak Prescott, pretty much, yeah.
And then I was reading an article from The Ringer yesterday, which brought up an interesting point. We sit here and I think we've asked this question a couple weeks in a row now. Who's the best team in the league? Who's the best team in football right now?
No one.
Their argument was there is no best team in football right now.
I'd agree with that.
The Chiefs going down and there being no undefeated teams. There is no best team in football right now. Even all the good teams have their own respective flaws. And the mediocre teams can rise up and beat them occasionally. And then there's a tier of very bad teams, but the rest of it is kind of up in the air.
Yeah, like the Chiefs yesterday. That game, that's a Chiefs game. They're going to do 2 of those a season at least, and we got the first one yesterday. They might do more, but they're going to do at least 2 of those a year. But Pittsburgh, a team that a week ago we said isn't very good, and then they come out and they really had no trouble with the Chiefs at all. None. Just dominated them for the whole game because I watched most of that. It was just never even.
And the Steelers were supposed to be this team that wasn't very good. Like, I don't know. There's no certainty in this league anymore. Anyone can beat anybody on any given day. Yeah. And, I mean, just looking at, like, the Dolphins, we kicked dirt on them and they were done, and then they go out and beat Atlanta. And this marks 2 straight losses for Atlanta, by the way. Yep. I'm just saying. So.
Yeah. Atlanta's lost 2 in a row. The Chargers have won 2 in a row.
Woo!
The Broncos.
Hey, the Chargers.
Cardinals.
Chargers playoff push. Calling it right now. Playoff push. Come on.
Hey, I'm not going to rule it out. And I'll tell you what else was funny about it is that they did it by kicking a field goal to win the game. As soon as they lined up, I thought, oh, this is not going to end well.
Yeah, I know. A late field, wow, that was nice.
This is not going to end well. We're going to be talking about this tomorrow, but they kicked it right down the middle, and that was it. I don't know, man. I agree with that. I don't think there is a best team. I think you've got teams that you look at and go, okay, I could see the Chiefs getting to the Super Bowl. Okay, maybe the Patriots can get to the Super Bowl.
And I've got news about that Bucs-Cardinals game, which I watched. Neither of them are good.
Yeah.
Neither team is good.
Adrian Peterson with the Cardinals, 120, 134 yards.
Am I high, or was he playing for somebody else 2 weeks ago?
He was. They traded him.
Okay, that's what I thought. All right.
It's really funny. You look at this Cardinals roster. You got Carson Palmer at QB, Adrian Peterson at running back, Larry Fitzgerald at wide receiver. This is like this team would have won the Super Bowl back in 2008.
I was going to say 2005. This is the best team in the league, man. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's just go through some of these. I think the most important game of the weekend was probably Thursday with the Eagles and Panthers.
Yeah.
Eagles win that one. They're 5-1. Are the Eagles the best team in the NFC?
Why not?
Why not? Yeah.
I guess.
They're good. I think they're better than we thought they were going to be. That's certain, right? Like, they're legitimately, I don't want to say Super Bowl good, but they're what we're calling a good team these days. The Eagles qualify. Where you look at them and you look at every game and go, yes, they could win that. I guess that's what we're going to make as a good team now. Where, don't know if they're going to or not, but you think, yeah, they could win this game. To me, that's what qualifies as good these days, I guess.
Yeah. Carson Wentz looked pretty good. Carson Wentz has actually had a pretty good second season so far.
Yeah, he has.
He hasn't fallen off quite yet, so that's good to see from him.
Did Cam Newton say anything stupid after this one?
No. He actually had a pretty good game, though. 239, rushed for a touchdown.
Yeah, despite the loss, I still think Carolina's got something there.
I was just going to say the same thing. I don't know that 4-2 is still not a bad start. They've a couple of those wins weren't the prettiest, but in the standings they all count the same, and I think they're going to be okay. But the Eagles, I think at the preview I said I wanted to get on these guys, and I talked myself out of it. But I think they're good. I think they're a pretty good team.
Yeah. Let's see. The Rams won a game with their special teams, which was nice.
Yeah.
Although I do have a question for you, Greg.
Okay.
Because you're the expert on these sorts of things.
Okay.
Look into it. Is this Rams Jaguars game the worst dressed football game of all time?
It's got to be up there.
You got the Rams in the white helmets with the blue jerseys and the gold numbers. They're Jaguars in their stupid halftone helmets.
See, that's the thing with these Jags uniforms. Other than the helmets, I kind of like this look. The all white.
I thought that way at first. The more I see it, the more I just want to get rid of all of it.
That was actually, believe it or not, was what I was going to say next. But after seeing it and looking at it I was like, no. It's got the potential to be a good look, but there's too much going on. Too many things. You got to remove some things. You got to fix that helmet, and it could be okay. But like the patch, the sleeves, it's just too much. The Rams, I have never seen a worse looking football uniform on the field ever.
So there's a couple bits of Rams information that I wanted to quickly go over about their uniforms.
Okay.
One, even the team knows that it's a bad look.
Yeah.
Yeah. The generator on Twitter was a good joke by them.
Yeah, and with the Price is Right losing horn, and then it's also being reported by the Orange County Register that Rams tried to get a uniform waiver for Sunday, but the NFL said no. They wanted to wear their throwbacks.
Right. I think that what we need to find out is what would happen to them if they just went ahead and did it.
Would they just get fined? I mean,
that's what I'm thinking.
The only stickers at halftime.
The only other case like this that I remember, it was way back when alternate jerseys first started being a thing in the NFL, and I remember that year the Saints wore both gold alternates for one game, and then they wore their throwbacks for another game.
Okay,
and the NFL basically had the rule of no, it's either like an alternate or a throwback, not both, and so they got fined.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know. I mean, I guess it would be how much the fine is, because if it's like a shitload of money, then yeah, you don't want to do it because it may end costing the team millions of dollars. But I don't even. You know what? I wonder what would happen if they just said, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take these blue jerseys and we're taking the gold out of both. We're just going to take the gold out of both jerseys. It's going to stay the same. We're not going to change. We're not going to wear the throwbacks. We're going to wear the same jerseys we wear, but we're removing all the gold. What would they do? They're not technically wearing a throwback. They're changing their jerseys midstream, which I know they're not allowed to do. But what's the worst that could happen? I don't know.
Well, I think has much more to do with like the merchandise thing. Where you have all the merchandise on the shelves, and in theory, the Rams would have to buy back all that merchandise.
But they're gonna either that or the NFL's gonna throw it away because nobody's buying those shit jerseys right now. I guarantee it. They're all buying the throwbacks. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the worst NFL game I've ever seen, but it's definitely in the running.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder what they should just do it. Like, I don't know about changing the jerseys midstream, but like, you already have the throwbacks in your repertoire. You know, everyone hates these stupid blue jerseys with the white helmets. Just do it.
Yeah.
Funny.
Yeah, because I think really at this point, I would rather have just seen them stick with the St. Louis look than do this. This is just bad.
Yeah.
This is bad.
Because you know what? The blue jerseys and the gold in the sunlight, like it was, the jerseys themselves aren't bad. Like no. I thought that was the thing I thought about was like the St. Louis look isn't bad. It just looked bad for all those years because it was inside that dreary dome.
Exactly. I think if you put it out in the sunlight, it wouldn't be a bad look at all.
Yeah,
not great, but certainly a damn sight better than this.
Yeah, I don't mind the colors. The uniform, I actually don't mind the uniform so much, but.
Well, here's the thing too. What do they? They're not. There's just no way they can wait 3 more years. They can't go till 2020. They've got to change these now.
I think with them like publicly putting out that joke with the uniform generator, and then pair that with this report that they wanted to wear the throwbacks, I think they understand that maybe this whole half measure thing, like the fans are actually speaking up about it, and like we don't like this, so they know. They know that it's an issue. I guarantee it'll be corrected in some fashion over the summer. How they do it, I'm not sure. If they're really going to stick to that, we're not going to get new jerseys until the stadium thing.
If they don't, then they've just got to just bite the bullet and go back to the St. Louis look because this is terrible. It is just god awful.
I would almost guarantee that the white horn helmets don't show back up next season.
I wouldn't be a bit surprised. And as much as I love that helmet, it's got to go if they're going to keep it like this. It's not working, not at all.
Yeah, it's just not going to go.
No.
You mentioned the Dolphins Falcons. I don't know what to make of either of these two teams now. Like, I really don't know. I thought the Dolphins were garbage, and I thought the Falcons were pretty good. And I don't know. You can't think that about either of these teams anymore, I don't think.
Well, my boy Jay Cutler is still not very good, but they did get the win. I don't know what. I think that if you were going to make a guess on these two teams, it'd probably be a safer bet to say the Falcons are probably better than this, and that the Dolphins are playing at peak performance right now. That would be my bet if I had to make one. But I don't know what to make of them either. I don't know what to make of this whole damn league. I don't get it.
Yeah, I know. The biggest loss probably of the weekend, though, is Aaron Rodgers, as you said, Greg.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the whole reason the Packers were competitive at this point.
Yep.
Right?
We saw what happened without him.
Excuse me. But yeah, so they're 4-2. The Vikings are 4-2. The Lions are 3-3.
What
Aaron
about
Rodgers,
the Bears?
You know what? The Bears are 2-4, man. I mean, if things go as they are, the Packers could end up in last place by the end of the season.
Brett Favre's not busy.
I know a lot of people were bringing up Kaepernick now.
Although he has filed a lawsuit against the league, so I don't think that's going to help his chances.
No, but you know what? That lawsuit against the league, it's one of those things. I know it's true, but I can't prove it. Mm-hmm. Because you know they're colluding to keep him out of the league. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind, but you can't prove it.
Yeah, collusion is impossible to prove.
Right.
Not unless you just have someone who's just a complete idiot and lets an email slip or something. Yeah.
I don't think that they even had to sit down and say no one signed this guy. It was just an understanding, an unspoken understanding that everybody in the league has.
Right. Yeah, that's what I figured too. It's not like there were discussions. It's just everybody came to this decision independently. Yeah, I think the Packers are toast.
Yeah, definitely.
That's okay, but
that 4-2 might turn into a 4-12 before this thing's all said and done, because he's not coming back. Like the last time he broke his collarbone, he came back.
I'm getting all on board the Bears. Come on, Bears, take advantage of the opportunity.
Mitchell Trubisky, man, got that game-winning drive.
Yeah, but between the other two teams, I mean, I guess the Vikings, I mean, the Lions, how the hell did they lose to the Saints?
Well, but forget losing, they gave up 52 points.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Because that's a team with offense, too. You think that they'd be able to match the Saints score for score, but...
Yeah. It's, I don't know. That's what I mean. This whole league is just so crazy. I don't know what to make of it. I mean, the Lions could end up being 13-3 when it's all said and done. Who knows?
3-2. The Falcons are 3-2. The Panthers are 4-2.
And the Bucks are 2-3 in that division.
That division's a mess.
It's all a mess.
You have the Patriots finally reclaiming first place in the AFC East. But the Jets gave him a hard time, man. And really, I mean, that call late, that late down, that the Jets get called back, that's a bad call.
Bad call, yeah. Yeah.
Well, what do you expect? This league has always had this problem. We can't just have a catch can't just be a catch.
No. I just don't know where they got fumble out of all that. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Where did he? I don't get it. I just understand it. I don't know. But they got screwed. But they played the Patriots a lot tougher than any of us thought they were going to.
Yeah.
Also, as far as
we're talking about who's the best team in the league, we assumed it was the Patriots, but they're 4-2, but not a comfortable 4-2.
What were we going to say, Mike?
I was just going to say, going back to how much of a mess it is, Jameis Winston didn't even finish that game for the Buccaneers because he had a bad game, and the team did a lot better once Fitzpatrick came in. So,
well, let's look at our boy Josh McCown from the Jets-Patriots game yesterday. 31-47, 354 yards, 2 touchdowns
against the Patriots.
Yeah, so to me that tells you that the Patriots defense really isn't very good.
Either that, or perhaps McCown is better than we all thought he was.
Well, wouldn't that be something?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be something?
God damn it, Jets. You're supposed to tank.
I mean, another team that's supposed to tank, but they're still playing teams hard is the 49ers. They're 0-6, but play the red stuff.
I'm glad you brought this game up because this is what I wanted to use them as an example versus the Browns, okay? Yes, the 49ers are 0-6, but I think they've been in every game they've played this year. They've played tough. They've played it where at least it's interesting and you think, okay, if they might have a chance. And to me, if you're going to be terrible, at least be terrible like that.
Is Blaine Gabbert still their quarterback?
No. Who was it this week? Hoyer?
Hoyer. Yeah. Who is it this week?
Yeah. No, I thought there was some guy named C.J. Beathard. Where did I see that name? Didn't he play?
I don't know.
Yeah, C.J. Beathard, quarterback of the 49ers this week. 19 of 36, 245 yards, 1 TD, 1 interception. C.J. Beathard, ladies and gentlemen.
Sure, why not?
But that's my point, though. With the Browns, it's like there is no competition. There's no competitive games. There's no fun. It's just horrible football.
Again, at the beginning of the season, the joke was, hey, Browns, you're better than the Jets. And now look where we're at.
Yeah, except they're not.
The Jets are a much better team.
Yeah, and I think the Niners are too, even though they both have the same record. The 49ers are going to accidentally beat a couple teams. The Browns, that's not happening. But
also the Chargers, they won another game. And the Giants are no longer winless.
Yeah.
Beating the Broncos, which is another what-the-fuck game, because the Broncos were supposed to be maybe upper tier, and they dropped one to a team that was 0-5.
Well, just to show you the nuttiness of this league, too, the Broncos scored 10 points, but Trevor Siemian had 376 yards passing. What's wrong with this picture? You got to put more than 10 on the board. I don't know what to make of this league, man. I mean, the Chargers, are we officially off the Raiders now or what?
We've got to be off the Raiders. I mean, look, the Chargers, I'll be the first to say, are not a good football team. They just aren't.
And I know the Raiders Derek Carr was coming off the injury and all that, but still.
This is supposed to be a game that they should have won, and they didn't. If the Raiders are truly as good as we all thought they were, they would have had no problem beating your Los Angeles football Chargers.
Of Anaheim,
of Costa Mesa.
As I reported to the two of you last week, there are logos on the building now.
Hey,
I know. I saw that. Dean, breaking the big bucks out.
Tomorrow of the world, baby.
Because that's the sponsored thing. It's the Hoag Hospital Performance Center.
There you go.
I guarantee Hoag Hospitals had to pay for those signs.
Speaking of all that, hey, watch out, Zach. The Chargers are only 2 games back of the Rams in the
battle for LA.
Fight for LA.
Yeah.
Sure.
And the Chargers have won 2 games in a row on the road, 1 on each coast at this point, right? Because they beat who last week? The Giants?
Giants last week.
Yeah, and now they come back home, back to California, and beat the Raiders. And that's the thing, though, Mike. You're right about the Raiders. If they were good, you cannot lose a home game to the Los Angeles Chargers of Costa Mesa like this. It just can't be done. If you're a good team, you shouldn't do that. And the Raiders just had nothing for them. But they're 2-4. They're 4 games behind the Chiefs now or whatever. But there's nobody else in that division. The Broncos, I suppose.
I don't know. If the Chargers can make a run, if they can get over the admittedly traumatic experience of playing a home game in the StubHub Center, where opposing fans are literally berating you as you play in your allegedly home field, yeah, that could be a problem.
Well, they've got the Broncos at home this Sunday, so that ought to be interesting. Broncos will probably travel pretty good, too, I would guess.
Oh, the Broncos. I kind of assume the Broncos are probably have one of the best traveling fan bases in the league.
Yeah, you would think. I don't know how far Denver is from Los Angeles, but I can't think it's that tough of a trip.
There's a lot of Bronco fans down here. So
yeah.
About that.
Just a weird league this year.
That'll be fun. Again, though, I'm still waiting for that final game of the season where it's going to be Chargers-Raiders in the StubHub Center.
Well, the Raiders keep playing like this, and none of their fans may show up. You might just be playing.
No. Raiders. I'm convinced that winning football games is a distant second when it comes to being a Raiders fan. You mostly go to scare and intimidate and possibly stab people.
No, that's true. That's a good point.
Football is kind of a secondary thing.
Yeah.
Kind of just an excuse to get together to intimidate and stab people.
So the football's not all that important. Yeah, I can see that. But I don't know what to make of this whole thing. I don't know, man. If I had to pick 2 teams to make the Super Bowl right now, I'd have no idea who I'd even pick.
And look, I know I guess this is a perfect case of be careful what you wish for, because this is the parity the league always wanted. And honestly, I'm so disinterested. We aren't even sure if there's a good team. It's just a whole ball of mediocrity, and that's the problem with parity. Look, hate the Patriots' hegemony as much as you want, but at least you knew who the good teams were, and you could get invested because there was a goal to chase. There's no goal to chase anymore. It's just a bunch of kind of bad football teams running into each other, and there's no rhyme or reason as to who beats who or why. That's
perfect. I don't know what else you could add to that. That's exactly right. All right. Anyway, we got anything else?
That's all I got.
Mike, anything else?
Nothing on my end.
All right, then we will call it a day. Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports. Subscribe via iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, YouTube, and you can also find us on Facebook. We'll see you next time.
Later.
Go Leafs.